Alright, hello. The closing ceremony at the Paris Olympics. Okay. I don't know if I should precursor this video. Start the video actually by talking about this. Okay, I've got a really good graphic in here of the Eiffel Tower, and I think it was Zenith of the Alpha, maybe, or I think it was Zenith of the Alpha. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think he did a video quite a while back about the. Well, actually, it might have been somebody else. I don't know. About the symbolism of the Eiffel Tower, um, with the alpha, the A here, and then the omega at the bottom of the thing. Okay, so the alpha and omega, and of course the alpha A is number 1 in the Greek alphabet, and then the omega, okay, is number 24, the beginning and the end, as we know it. Now, this I just thought this was interesting because, of course, the first Paris Olympics. Of course, I was speaking wrong in my other video. I was kind of saying the first Olympics. Well, the first Olympics was actually 4 years before this one. Before the 1900 Paris Olympics in Greece. So this is the first Paris Olympics, 1900 through to 2024. So a total of, by my calculations, 124 years. Note that was Jay-Z's birthday, the 4th of December. Okay, and notice that the American team had a sort of introduction through something with Beyonce as well. We might see a thumbnail of it here in a minute. So I just wanted people to be aware of this whole thing with the symbolism of the Eiffel Tower and the 124. Okay. Was there anything else I wanted to mention about that? No, I'm thinking. Oh, I just wanted to mention about John Wick taking place, right there in front of the Eiffel Tower, the finale of that. And there was another. What was the other film that I've watched recently? And I think it was the last one. I think it was The Equalizer. It wasn't in Paris, but it was set in France, I believe. Denzel Washington, of course, being important because Washington is the alpha and omega. Okay, so anyway, actually, it might not have been in France. It might have been in. I think it was actually in Italy. I'll take that back. But anyway, forget that idea. But I think it was in Italy actually. I have to think about it for a second. Right. Where do I go from here? Right. Let's crack into the old. So that's important, right? So let's crack into the end sequence here. Okay. And that was the other thing I want to mention was the date. Before we get in any further, actually, let's just mention the date because I want to mention the August the 11th for the end date. Okay, so let's just go to I would have forgot all about that. Let's just go to August the 11th so we can see what we're dealing with here. And again, we're dealing with 224. So we actually have the year kind of encoded again with the day of the year. So it's 224 days into the year, and we are now in 2024. So this is kind of nice. 811, obviously, 811 has two references, which I really need to go through. I probably need to go to the chart of rain and show you that. I'll do that in just a second. So we'll go and see what 811 is in just a minute in terms of balance and everything. And then we've got also 142, which of course always springs to mind Valentine's Day, okay, with the 142. Or those same numbers show up, of course, in the Queen's birthday. So that is pretty important. And actually, I think Hoover Dam, I've got it in the Gematria. Hoover Dam is also a. Do I have it in the Gematria? Hoover Dam, yes. In the reverse, it is a 142. Okay, so that's worth kind of remembering. seeing as that's really what the channel's about the destruction of the Hoover Dam and us going into, a great reset, so to speak. Okay, so what's interesting though is we've got 8/11, okay, and if we go through now to 118 days left in the year, we get to our date, which is our prediction date for the Hoover Dam coming up, one of them at least, which is the 4th of September, 4/9, okay, and here's our 118 here, okay, our 11/8. This 248, just keep that in, we need to reference, we need to keep that in the back of our mind, that that's to do, all of the 9/11 stuff is to do with Pluto, and this would be no exception. This date ties back in with the 248, which is the orbital cycle in years of Pluto, okay, and it just so happens that the start of the USA, 1776 or 47, however you want to say that date, 1776 through to Donald Trump's birthday this year, which is 6/14 this year, is our 248-year completion of that cycle. Actually, it's a whole bunch of days, but it's just rounded to 248 years. And while we were just talking about the Queen, let me just retell people this. There are actually two different cycles, at least what I come up with, for the return period for Pluto, and one of those other dates, the other date, well, I say one of the other dates. So the one date is Donald Trump's birthday this year, and the other date would have been the Queen's birthday 2023 if she was alive. So that is worth noting as well, because you have the sidereal or side rail, or however you want to say that, orbit calculated, and you also have one that we can calculate from the synodic through the sun, okay, and its relationship with the Earth. So, and that would actually be rounded to 247 years, okay. So that's important to note. Where do I want to go for that? And actually, you'll see that 247 is before, and it's 911 or 119, which is again to do with the Queen, okay, and she shares that date with her birthday shares the twin date with 9/11. Okay, with all that being said, let's crack back on to, let me show you in the chart of Lorraine real quick with the and actually I'll go to the one with number 4 in it as well. I don't usually show this one, but this is the chart of Lorraine. If you're new here, I don't know what to say, just go check this other video. You just have to go back and check through old videos to find out about this stuff. The thing to note, the center of the table can be amalgamated to a 118, okay. We're going to share that middle 1, that middle 11 that's in the center of the table here. This is the midpoint right here, and we're going to share that middle 1, and we get a 118. It's just an abbreviation of 1118, okay. So this is the place where we're trying to get back to balance, okay, that central point. Second thing to note is that 4/9, I don't usually have this purple stuff in here. The reason why it's not normally in here is because the table was originally written out to be kind of numerically symmetrical, and so this number 4 didn't appear. But you can start these numbers on, we could have a 6 row, a 7 row, an 8 row, and everything else row, okay, if we wanted to. But with that being said, before I get too wiffly waffly, we've got the 4 row in here. It's just scribbled in purple, and if we do a cross reference with 4 and then this 9 up here, okay, what we'll see is that our number that pops up is 118, okay. So 4/9 is a cross reference, or 118 cross references with 4/9 in this table. And when we do include this, the 4 row, the 14 or the 41, what you'll notice is that Donald Trump's numbers end up in here because we have a new set of totals at the bottom here. So the green totals now have transformed into these purple totals, and you can see that, well, Donald Trump's birthday date starts that whole thing off. Okay. Oh, what else I want to say? Oh, that is another interesting thing, and I think I've got the calculator right here. I might be able to just do this real quick. It isn't actually, if you take the rings of the games, it isn't actually 621, but it's actually 612. It's just in passing. But if you take the actually there's 4 Vesica Pisces. So those 5 rings, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how they have them actually. I'll have to look. Hang on a minute. Well, we won't get too sidetracked with that right now, but I think there's 4, basically, where them rings overlap. There's 4 of these Vesica Pisces formed. Okay, that's not very good drawn either because you can't see it. Oh, and that's the other thing. Just draw it out right. Come on. Was that the Olympic torch was actually Vesica Pisces shaped? Okay, I had it like this. Okay, a bit thinner than that, but and straighter. But it was Vesica Pisces shaped, and the Vesica Pisces, of course, the number that's associated with that is 153. If you times that by 4, it is 612. Okay, which again, 612, very important with the idea of see, when you look at Donald Trump's birthday, okay, and if you were to read this number back now, back in reverse, so, okay, we're reading the 14th of June, and then if we read this back to the center point, we got read it backwards, the 12th of June, okay, and 612 is these 4 Vesica Pisces that are formed by the 5 rings, okay, added up, 4 times 153 is 612. I don't know, I just thought it was interesting and worth a mention. Okay, let's get off this rubbish now and let's crack on with, get rid of all that. I think we might come back and actually do a picture here in a minute. So we've done the date. You can understand the relevance and the importance of 118 maybe. I'll tell you one other thing about 118 and Pluto is that, let's go through to November. What you'll find is that in a normal year, at least, I've got it set on obviously this year is a leap year, but on a normal year, the 18th of November is Mickey Mouse's birthday, and the 17th is what I would say is a midpoint between the 2 cycles in Pluto, with the orbital periods of Pluto. So the 17th of November, not in a normal year, or at least it was last year, was the midpoint between the 2 endpoints of the cycle. So you can see that the obviously 1118, is on the cusp of that. It's the midnight hour switching through to the 18th. Very, very important, and that's probably why Mickey Mouse's birthday happens to be on the 18th of November. Okay, so that they've got those numbers for Mickey. This is why Michael is such an important name. And actually, that's a good segue into what I thought was interesting at the actual games. Let's crack on. What do I want? This one first. Okay, so blimmin' hell, we've got this guy descending from above. Where do we want to start? Let's just talk about. Hang on a minute. We can see the rings here. Actually, you can see how those rings overlap now. If you can, hang on a minute. If you see this, they actually overlap sort of diagonally there and there. Okay, so you can see that there's 4 Vesica Pisces there. What was interesting, actually, while I'm thinking about it, we'll go back and do a picture because I'll show you what actually happened during this thing, because it was all about resurrection. Okay, and obviously being the 33rd Olympics, there's going to be some kind of reference to the resurrection. But we had, so these rings, so actually what we need to do is do it like this. Okay. Actually, hang on a minute. Let's be professional about this. 1, 2, but actually I need to move that to there. Maybe there. And then what they had, so during the whole thing, what they did is put one there, and then we'll do this other one. Hang on a minute. Sorry, this is on the fly. I just can't be bothered to really organize anything. I know I'm being lazy, but so what they did is in the stadium I guess they had the rings lying on the floor. Anyway, what was interesting was that gold character CP30, what the hell was. Let me go back and show you. So obviously they had to narrate this thing, otherwise you wouldn't have had a clue what the hell was going on. Right? But this guy is just going to descend from the heavens, okay? Obviously it's very interesting that, I don't know how you want to look at that. You could look at it you could flip that thing around several different which ways. Actually, we've got it playing here as well. We might be able to actually see it on this. You won't be able to see it very good, but this guy's descended and he's looking around, and this is about the resurrection of the Olympics, they say, right? Anyway, an interesting looking thing. Loki springs to mind for some reason, but obviously, well, Lucifer descending, okay, the false idol, and this guy is basically going to, I want to say, resurrect the Olympics. It's basically this, I guess, the start of the Matrix, but you could flip these ideas around quite a bit. Okay. Anyway, what they have, I know this is terrible, Dan. What they have is these rings. So here's the ring. Here's one of the rings, and in fact, that's the important ring. They have these rings lying around, and basically what they end up doing is flipping them up, and from each continent, I guess, and then they hook them on some wires and they raise them up. Okay. This last ring here is very interesting. I'm not going to be able to put my cursor over it, but you can see the actually it's interesting because it kind of looks like a clock as well. There could be some numbers there we could pick out as a clock face. But this last ring, you might not be able to see it actually, but there is a ring inside of there, and there is a cross. So it is very much like the halo that is around Jesus's head with the cross behind, like the sun imagery. And that is the last ring that goes into place. So that is really fascinating. And let me show you what happens. And in fact, I'll draw it for you. It won't be very good, but so this last ring that goes into place starts out down the bottom, and I'll draw it in just a second. But basically what happens is they raise this last, so they have them set up like this, the first 4 that they get hoisted up into the air, and then what they do is they hoist the last one, so you don't really see it on the video, but as it comes up, what you've got is you've basically got the V formation. That's the first thing that happens, and as it's going up, so that's the womb, and this thing is going into the womb and then ends up right here. And in fact, let's adjust it so we don't have those ones overlapping, and that gives you your 4 Vesica Pisces. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the 6, 12. So there it is. It raises just like that. So what we've got is essentially the womb, and then man going into the womb, or at least Jesus going back into the womb and being recaptured. Okay. or you could look at it as you know, going back into the Holy Spirit as well. You know, rising up and going back to the Holy Spirit. You can flip all those ideas around to mean something else. You know, to mean the opposite. But anyway, that's what you end up with. So I just thought it was interesting, going from the V into the womb. Oh, criminal. And of course, at that point, you end up with. Why isn't this thing working now? Bloody thing. Well, my battery might work running out. Oh, blimmin' hell. Hang on a minute. This is a mess. Okay, let's start. Oh my goodness. It's just going crazy, Dan. What has happened here? Oh dear. Right, let's start again. So then you have your W formed. So you started off with V into W. VW. Interesting. And of course you just flip that around and it's A and M. Okay. Well, Adam and Mary, or the Alpha and Mary, but what it is it is the phallic symbolism and the womb symbolism coming together. Okay, whichever way around you want to look at it, that's what it is. Okay, so very, very interesting. What was also interesting, see these little white guys here? So as the gold guy also shot down, and Tom Cruise also did this later on, we'll talk about that, but as this guy came down from above, and don't forget this, Stade de France it's an arena, so it's an oval shape. So we've got this thing dropping through the Vesica Pisces, and then we've also got all these little white guys dropping in through the Vesica Pisces, and they're clambering, as you'll see, over these rings. And what is the ring? The ring is also the egg, and these guys are all dressed up in white, and they're talking about rebirth. These are the semen that have poured in as the phallus has gone into the Vesica Pisces, the VP. Okay, Kamala Harris is the VP, the Vice President, number 49, the 49th Vice President. But the the white semen have gone into the they're going into the egg here, into the eggs to fertilize the eggs. Okay, and again that last egg. Oh, that's what I should have shown you. That last egg was actually this with yet another circle inside, and then we've got the lines that are coming off of there as well, the cross, like so, and then of course Jesus's head would be at the center of that, and that's the the imagery. Okay, so that was the final ring that went up there. But we have those rings being fertilized by the semen. I mean, it's all just absolutely crazy. Obviously, I mean, even the Eiffel Tower itself is phallic symbolism, as I showed you with that 1900. I think I still got the picture up here. Yeah, with the 1900 Olympics, this poster for it with the Eiffel Tower about to insert into the Vesica Pisces here of the goddess. Okay, and again, we had this guy drop down, the golden, I guess, I don't know. Was that the goddess? I don't think so, but anyway. So let's go back to this, and we'll keep going down through these things here. So it was all about resurrection, and even the commentators, obviously they got something to read there. They mentioned resurrection several times. It's all super duper scripted. We also had Tom Cruise dropping in through the Vesica Pisces as well. He's got his, I don't know what jacket that's supposed to be. My wife said, oh, it looks like Harrison Ford's jacket, but I think he might. See, I was thinking it might have been the bomber jacket from Top Gun, but it wasn't really. and that might be the jacket he wears in Mission Impossible or whatever, I don't know. But it was interesting because they did the whole getting on the motorbike thing. So he comes down, drops down, receives the flag, and then leaves on a motorbike. We have a little shot of him going in a motorbike, and I'm like, oh, he's just going to get on an airplane now. And of course, he drives into the back of an airplane to supposedly go to LA, where the next Olympics is going to be. But it was very Top Gun. I did feel the Top Gun vibe, and obviously Top Gun Maverick. Uh, it's got the dam sequence in it. It's got the Dam Busters raid in it. So again, another thing to remember about Tom Cruise is something that 88 Finesse Temporis mentioned about Tom Cruise is obviously Tom is twin and Cruise is twin cross. Okay, and again, that's really what we're looking at here is the double cross of Lorraine. The two crosses becoming one. Okay, the cross of St. Andrew and St. George. Okay, and so we did have a St. George reference in here, which was also really interesting. Well, I think I got it up on a. Where is it now? Actually, let's go through here. I've got it on. I got some imagery up. I mean, it gets better than this. This is just so loaded. It's just unbelievable. No, I don't want that. I want this one. So here's the actual what they had laid out in the arena. And what you'll see is it looks like, well, what it's supposed to be is a world map. Okay, that's what it's supposed to be. And you'll see that the world is all clad in armor, and it's silver armor. And this is the idea of being within the matrix. Okay, so I don't know, maybe the gold figure from above is supposed to represent Jesus returning and then bringing the world out of darkness, or maybe it's supposed to represent Lucifer descending and taking the world into darkness via the false light. Who the hell, you pick what you want to pick out of it, right? But we do have, it looks like a man on the back of a horse. This looks like a horse head here. I'm sorry, I can't. Oh, actually, I might have this bigger. No, I wanted to have this bigger somewhere. I thought I opened that in another. What's this one? Okay, hang on a minute. Try that, because it'd be nice to have a little bit bigger. Liminal. I'm just so not technical enough for this stuff, Dan. Well, how big can we go? There we go. That's probably big enough to see. This is actually better, so we can talk about it a bit better. So this looks like kind of a jockey on the back of the horse, okay, with a long spear, okay. And what that horse also forms, or at least what this is the world, and this is the center of the earth here, which is Africa, which is the heart. It's heart shaped, okay, and the arrow is going through the heart right here, okay, or the spear is about to slay the dragon. Okay, so a St. Michael, St. George reference, and again, the arrow through the heart here. Okay, and everything is clad in the silver armor, which is it's like being inside the Matrix. Yeah, you wear the armor, the protection of the Matrix, the shield. Okay, that's what the dam is. It's a big shield of protection. It's all about protectionism. Even the legal system was originally about protectionism. It's about protecting yourself. Okay, but the problem is we protected ourselves so much that we took away all of our freedom. Yeah? So there's a fine line between using something as a protection and then overprotecting something, which is what the overprotective mother does, the whore. Well, it's not really the whore at that point, but there is an overprotective mother idea where the child isn't allowed to do anything. And that's what the Matrix becomes. um, amongst other things. And it also becomes a whore as well, because that's what seduces man. Anyway, so there we go. We've got the heart here, and this is the horse. Again, the horse also, it's going through, this arrow is also going through the heart of the horse as well, because the whore, or the horse, is the mare, is the sea, is the moon, yeah, is all of those things, is the merchant system. Okay, so it's all, I mean, again, we can go around in circles with the what's going on here. Okay, so I thought that was all worth mentioning. Obviously, I'm not going into massive detail about this stuff, but what was even funnier, right? So we had the Tom Cruise drop-in thing, which I thought, well, that was really good, because Tom Cruise is in an awful lot of stuff with an awful lot of references. In fact, in Mission Impossible, they have some references to the dam, to the train going over the cliff. Or there's a ton of stuff that I just haven't even done videos on. But what was the one I said? Oh yeah, Rain Man. I mean, I was just so much. Where to start with Tom Cruise. But not only did they have that, but they had this lady, and I hate to be rude here, but I'm going to be rude. What was I looking at here? Hang on a minute. Let's see if we can find a picture of her singing the last song of the evening. And they had a band on called, what the hell was that band's name? Phoenix. Right at the end, of course. That was actually alright. I kind of enjoyed the music. I kind of like the kind of funky electro, I don't know, French sound. This was another thing they had, was this piano came up right about right here on the arrowhead, and so it was coming up vertically, and again, kind of interesting with the reference to the monolith, the black monolith, and also to the phallic symbolism again. There was a ton, I don't know if you noticed this, but there was an absolute ton of references to the phallus within the games. They had the men's, what did they have? It was like the 4x100 or something, and they cocked up the it's a bit of a pun actually, they cocked up the exchange of the phallic symbolism, the baton or baton or whatever you want to call that thing. They just couldn't get a hold of it correctly. So we had this little reference there to the phallic symbolism. We had obviously the reference with the Eiffel Tower. There was the guy, the pole vaulter, of all of the sports to reference the phallic symbolism, the pole vaulter knocking off the rail with his phallic symbolism, with the penis. So we had that there. That was another one of those moments. And then we also had, what was the other one? Oh, my sister was telling me about it. It was I don't know, it was some Chinese guys. Maybe it was in ping pong. It would be interesting if it was in ping pong, because ping pong is obviously references back to the bouncing bomb and the Dam Busters raid, and obviously to the fall of the Hoover Dam. But it might have been ping pong. I'm not 100%. What I call it ping pong, table tennis. So I've already insulted a whole bunch of people there. But it was, and if that isn't the connection, I'm sorry. But what was I going to say? It was something like it was doubles, and it was something like Ma. The one guy's name was Ma Long, and the other one was like Ma Long Wong or something, or Wang or Wu or something. It was something that sounded like it could be a penis. Ma Long, whatever. So anyway, you can see that there was it just seemed to me like there was an awful lot of reference to the penis during the whole thing. And again, this again with the the head of the penis here, engorged with blood, rising up. 88 keys, baby. But no, I just thought it's interesting. It could have been dragon symbolism as well, the head of the dragon. And if you think about it, the serpent, the dragon, and this thing being speared, yeah, the spear coming. So this is where it was coming up. If you can see my cursor, it was coming up right in front of the spear here, right at the spear. So this, again, the phallic symbolism is the serpent, is the staff, is the dragon, okay? Because that is the thing that drives us into the bad place. Yeah, following that thing, following the desire of that thing, okay? And it's the desire that you have to overcome. So you can see how certain things can be, the meaning of certain things. You have to take the context of what's going on there. So that's what I probably guess that was. It's phallic symbolism that is supposed to be indicating the serpent, and then the slaying of the serpent with the arrow, or St. George here, or Michael, whatever you want. Anyway, so again, interesting. Let's crack on and get to the last couple of bits, because otherwise this bloody thing's gonna be ages long. Right, this gal, she sang the final song, and I'm going to be rude now, and I mean this. I don't mean this with disrespect to this lady, but it's not over until the fat lady sings. Okay, it just was like, I said it. My wife said, "Oh, don't be disrespectful," something like that. She said, because I said, "Oh, that could be the title of my video." And she said, yeah, that's kind of bad." But anyway, I'm just saying, that is the saying, and it's not over till the fat lady sings, and this is the fat lady singing, okay, and she's the Black Pearl at this point, all in black, very interesting as well, and even with the black disc on her head, and to top it off, she's singing Frank Sinatra. She's singing My Way. Oh, and so the start of My Way, I got the lyrics up here so you can see. Where the hell is it? And now the end is near. Starts off with, now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. Okay, enough said, hey. Obviously, Frank Sinatra ties very nicely in with Vegas, and it ties very nicely. Frank Sinatra also ties very nicely with New York, with that song. So it's what a song to pick. I always said, "Oh, I'm have My Way at my funeral," because it'll get everybody going. Oh dear, Danny Boy and My Way. That's what I'm having. Anyway, one interesting thing about My Way is the release date is 3/21, March the 21st. 3/21, and then check out Recorded, when it was recorded. the 30th of December, 1/2/3. Now, what is important about those numbers, if you recall, 32,123 days is the distance between in days, yeah, that's what you just said, the distance in days between the birthday of the Hoover Dam and 9/11/2023. Okay, so an important number there. I've shown that number before. Again, another palindromic number, and it's the 3/2/1/1/2/3 number jump. Okay, so this is pretty. It's a good reference back to the Hoover Dam and to 9/11 for sure, and obviously it's really ominous anyway with those first two lines. It's just crazy, and you know what? I'm sure I've been to. I mean, I think it's actually a song that probably gets played at a lot of funerals. But anyway, So that's done. That's done. Okay, so with that being said, the fat lady has sung, and they've passed the. Tom Cruise has taken the Olympic flag or whatever. They've extinguished the flame there in Paris, and now the Olympic flame is not Olympic flame's going over there, but the flag has gone over. I'm not really quite sure how they do the lighting of the flame again, but anyway, we get to LA. We have the Hollywood sign, we have the observatory, we have the what else did they show? The Coliseum, like the Memorial Coliseum where Super Bowl one took place. Thought that was interesting. And then what else did they do? They had the guy on the skateboard taking them up to the beach, and then we had Red Hot Chili Peppers. That also ties back to the Future. We had Billie Eilish. Am I saying that right? Anyway, she obviously has the. It's a very similar name to Billy Idol. Okay, and I think they just had her there for the reference for the dollar bill. And in fact, I don't have a picture up of it, but she was wearing, I'm sure she was wearing like some shorts and a shirt, and one had 5 on it and one had 3 on it. And of course, the bill, the Billy I, okay, which is the top of the pyramid on the $1 bill, is obviously that angle is 53 degrees, and she is wearing the 53. Okay, so that was kind of interesting. Obviously, Red Hot Chili Peppers with Flea, who is Needles in Back to the Future. Okay, so that is extremely interesting. And then also, what was the other thing? So the last thing was Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg doing a song together. Okay, so let's see if I can find what I did with that now. I want to say here it is. So here it is. Again, well, let's see if I can just. Sorry, this is all on the fly. It's not very good, is it? Oh, look, it's big. So the dogs. I couldn't believe it when I saw the dogs. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious me. We got the A, the alpha with the crown on. Yeah, the alpha about to crown from the Hoover Dam. 28. We've got this date coming up. It's the 14th of August, which is 28 days earlier than 9/11. The 14th of August. If you go to my 9/11 is Pluto video that I put out around about Christmas time, what you'll see is that within Lucas numbers, there's a bunch of number jumps that all relate back to Pluto, numbers that tie back to Pluto within that jump. 9/11 is one of those numbers that's within that jump sequence. Okay, so this is all to do with Pluto, the dog. Okay, so we've got the DOGG here. Okay, and there was something interesting about DOGG in the Gemartrinator. Hoover Dam. Hang on a minute. Oh yeah. There we go. It was 33, that was. Yeah, okay. Now I've got to remember where I was at. Bloody hell. Oh. So, Snoop Dogg, obviously, the same with Kamala Harris, has the 10/20 birthday, the same day that Hoover died. President Hoover, Herbert Hoover died. Okay. So this is, again, he has this. This is why he's been at these games, I'm sure of it. I am absolutely almost 100% positive this is why he's been at these games, because of his birthday. This is why Kamala Harris is vice president, because of her birthday. Okay, amongst other things, right? So this dog here, anyway, getting back to the dogs, and there's 28 days, is 28 days before 9/11, which is the 14th of August, and that those numbers there, the 148, that's our difference in orbital cycle days between an Earth year and a Pluto year. Okay, just to get that out there. So 148 is super interesting because it's 28 days before 9/11, and that 28 days is actually, the numbers all add up within Lucas numbers to do that. Okay, without actually going and showing you the whole sequence and how that all works, which is would be extremely difficult to do. Yeah, I would expect something. I'm expecting something big to happen on the 14th of August, to be quite honest. Whether that might be Madonna dying, might be something to do with Joe Biden. Maybe Joe Biden will die on that day as well. I don't know. But I think it'll definitely be a big reference. And then again, maybe nothing will happen. Now I've said something. Now I've said I'm looking at something on that day. Probably nothing will happen. But anyway, blooming hell. What else do I want to mention here? So the dogs. Okay. Oh, another thing is we're on the beach. So the beach represents a couple of things. It represents the transition between the sea, okay, the fictional side of reality, and the physical side of reality, which is the land. The beach is the corona, yeah. It's the crown around the land, okay. It's the Vesica Pisces that circles the land. You know, it's the golden crown, the golden sands is the yellow brick road. It's that pathway between the two sides of reality, between the sea and the land, okay, the physical and the metaphysical. Okay, most people live their lives stuck really far into the metaphysical, okay, in the sea. So it's interesting we have this at this balance point. Note also with the palm trees, the reference to Jesus. Note also with the palm trees and the water and the sand, the reference to the oasis in the desert. Yeah, this is what the dam forms, is the oasis in the desert. That's why this is important as well. And then notice also the Sphinx, sort of the way this dog is set up, kind of like a kind of Egyptian style. Okay, so that's important as well because of course there's a lot of Art Deco-y feel about the Hoover Dam, and that's obviously heavily influenced by it. You know, it's heavily influenced with the Egyptian style of things. Okay, Art Deco. So obviously, hence the Hoover Dam becomes very sort of Egyptian-y feeling as well. There is another one of these dogs on this side over here. We can't see it, but it's there. We've got the double dog. So we've got the two foo dogs right there, and again, let me show you a picture of what is at the Hoover Dam, the two winged angels, which form the Wepawet Anubis type dog heads. Okay, here's the ears, here's the nose coming down here. Okay, so this is the ears and the nose of the, you know, coming down. So these are the two big ears that we see on Snoop Dogg's doggy dog. Okay, and I think, I'm trying to think the songs. I know one of them was the next episode. I think did they sing two songs or one song? I can't even remember now. But definitely the next episode was there. So again, yes, Dan, they played that song because it is the next episode of the Olympic Games, mate. That's why they played that, and that's why they played that's why she sang My Way, because it was the end of that one. Okay, yeah. Okay, we can read in that it's the end of the Olympics and the beginning of a new Olympics, or is there some deeper meaning there with the reset of the whole world? Interesting. The tricycle. Yeah, this is important because there are 3 cycles within reality. Okay, the Fibonacci sequence, the Lucas sequence, and what I call the pi sequence. I think Billie Eilish had I don't know what the hat was, but it looked like, I wanted to call it like the Pirates or something. She had this ball cap on, and it was a P, and it looked like it might have had an I in the middle of it. But just having the P on there for pie, I thought was interesting as well. Anyway, getting sidetracked back again. So there's a whole bunch to this stuff. And don't forget, Trump has, again, with this 82 reference, I've mentioned a whole bunch of stuff with Trump and the 82. The 82 note on his podium when he's talking, text 88022 is the number that's on there. And again, next year on 4/9, Trump will be, I can't remember the number now. I think it's like something like, I think it's 30,033 days old or something like that. Something, it's a 333 numerology anyway. And what else was interesting about that was there was a whole other bunch of numbers encoded in that. But yeah, it was the resurrection numbers for next year, and not next year, for 2028. Sorry, did I say that? Yeah. Anyway, it was for 2028, and he would have been. Oh, that was it. He was going to be 82 years and 82 days old on that particular day. So it's, super duper ominous. That's obviously 4/9 in 4 years' time. I'm kind of hoping that it will not happen here in the next few days. It won't. I'm hoping it'll project out to 2028, but you don't know. It's like the 321-123 number between the Hoover Dam and 9/11. I really thought that day was looking super duper hot for the whole thing to just happen back on 9/11 again. Just happen again on 9/11. That really would have sunk the whole thing home, wouldn't it? Pretty good. But anyway, yeah, I think that's it. I think I've covered most of the stuff. I've probably forgotten a few things. Let me just whiz through and see if there was anything that was major that I've forgotten. I hope I haven't forgotten anything too major. No, I don't think so. I think we'll just leave it there, because otherwise, this old girl that sang that My Way, August the 18th birthday, which I thought was interesting, the 818. But if you went on her Wikipedia, it's the 19th of August. And you remember those numbers. If I go to the chart of rain, chart 1 without all the number 4s in it, that number, which is Matthew Perry as well, that is very super significant here, because that's this line right here. She's singing Frank Sinatra, and then here was the Trump assassination thing, and then of course we had, we're all pointing towards the arrowhead, which of course they've got the horse coming through this way, and this is the arrowhead with the 53. This is the top of the pyramid, that angle at the top of the pyramid, 53. That's the arrowhead. Okay, so I mean the numbers right now are really, lining up for, this completion. Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff for this year, but again, the problem is trying to figure out the actual, what the actual year is going to be. And again, when you have that arrow coming through to the 53 here, this is, in the center of that is our 1118. Okay, where the heart is, number 49. I'm leaving it there because I've got one more video I want to do tonight. It's already getting late. Oh, one more thing. This is the first year they have put breakdancing, or if you want to be correct with your terminology, breaking in the Olympics. Breaking, okay? Are you getting that? Braking. Okay. So that I thought was interesting as well. Um, yeah, I've talked about pretty much everything that I want to talk. I've probably forgotten something pretty interesting. I'll tell you one thing that was interesting. While I was looking through all this Daily Mail, can you see this guy doing this leap forwards here? This is 5 years ago. This is something completely random. This is the kind of stuff that just pops up into my viewfinder. It looks like we've got the two purple twins, black and white, running for the finish line, and the black guy who has got the halo on his head, or is about to, or the crown, or is about to be rebirth, does the Superman dive for the line. Hurdler Infinite Tucker dives over finish line to win race. All right, 5 years ago. It'd be interesting to see when the actual 400-meter hurdles. Interesting. And check this out. Let's just let this play on a little bit, and I'll see if I can just. You'll see the guy. Well, hopefully you can see this. It's probably not coming through very good because it's really small. But he does this dive, and the finish time is 49:49 on the clock right here. Unbelievable. It's that kind of stuff. That's just completely random. Would you come across that in a million years? Would you normally? So there's going to be a lot of information. If something happens, I think there's a lot of this stuff, just like 9/11, that people will find very quickly and easily, and they'll be like, oh, look at all this, look at all these references to it. Obviously Superman's important because of the first Superman film, where the Hoover Dam gets blown. So to do the Superman at the end of that race is super significant. That's it for the video. I'm done. I will catch on another one here pretty soon. Yeah, Doc Hollywood's coming up next. All right, thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.